So Donald Trump made a post, one that just the timing of it is so strange just because of what I was looking into, but let me show you the post. And I'll read it. I'm just showing part of it. Joe Biden was not for open borders. He was not for open borders. He never talked about open borders where criminals of all kinds, shapes, sizes can flow into our country at will. It wasn't his idea to open borders and almost destroy our country and cost us hundreds of billions of dollars to get criminals out of our country and go through the process we are going through now. It was the people that knew he was cognitively impaired and that took over the auto pen. They stole the presidency of the United States and put us in great danger. This is treason at the highest level. They did it to destroy our country. The Joe Biden that everybody knew would never allow drug dealers, gang members, and the mentally insane to come into our country totally unchecked and unvetted. All anyone has to do is look up his record. Something very severe should happen to these treasonous thugs that wanted to destroy our country but couldn't because I came along. Make America great again. So who is it? It's not even about who it is. It's the powers and principalities that get control of people. And this is why it's interesting, the timing of this, because that's really, in my opinion, who took over the auto pen. That's why there's nothing changing. It's not because of Trump. It's because it's who runs this world. And so I was really, really looking into this, okay? And so some things I understand a little clearer now is how the spiritual realm, it overlays our realm. You know, you think of God way up here, or you think of the angels way up there. And I did because of the wandering stars, which sometimes they are the wandering stars in the book of Jude. But some of that is fixed in heaven too, you know, as part of God's creation. But the angels, good and bad, their reality, their realm is over, like it overlaps ours. It's like it's hard to wrap your head around it. So this was the best I could realize it was that when Adam and Eve, before they fell, because the Garden of Eden wasn't in heaven, it was on earth, obviously. But so before Adam and Eve fell and sinned, their eyes were wide open. Like it says, you know how it says after they sinned, their eyes became open and they realized they were naked? No, it's actually their eyes became closed. The light of their spirit was dimmed down more. And that's why they noticed, you know, this nakedness, which wasn't a problem with them before. Again, it was like the spirit, the light was taken out of them. So their eyes actually didn't become open, they became closed. And why it talks many times, maybe not closed, but you know, like they had, the spirit was gone from inside them, and they had the veil over them then. They had the, you know, the scales on the eyes. But we all have the scales on the eyes. When John or any of these people that had visions in the Bible, they have it because they can see into that realm. See, before Adam and Eve fell, they could have interacted, and they likely saw the angels. Now because they can it would have been the same overlap, is what I'm saying. The same overlap was there. The spiritual realm there. They would have been able to see both, the physical realm and they would have been able to see both. When they sinned, they were only able to see the physical realm. Does that make sense? That's the powers and principalities, is those angels, and they're good and bad, and they can take the form of somebody, especially you know, the ones that are the fallen ones. Um, they're not ones to take over a body for a long period, but they do, they control, they're in this realm is what I'm saying. We just can't see them. But that's why you need to pray a lot to God. You need to get to know God a lot so it makes more sense to you. Because I think ultimately it wouldn't matter who Donald Trump put in it doesn't matter who is in. To think that any of these people will have they gotten anything done? No, you can't. It's not possible. You know why? I mean, I'm not trying to say it's hopeless. What I'm trying to say is that it's the powers and principalities. And the powers and principalities control whole governments. And it's not that they're, these people are demon, but they're influenced by those powers and principalities. Yeah, that's what you need to understand. I also was looking up about this spiritual realm that's mentioned in the Bible, and it's like a parallel reality. It interacts with and it influences our world. It influences matter, space, and or time as we know it. So it coexists. It is present everywhere, overlapping with our reality, but cannot be seen or measured with physical senses or instruments. It's best understood as invisible that exists alongside within our physical world. So that's then where those principalities are that go on to influence, well, the powerful, most especially. And all you can do, well, the things it says to do is to speak up and follow God's word and, speak with conviction about God's truth and stay away from sin. And that helps lessen it. But ultimately, it's something that God has to, we can't get rid of it, is what I'm saying. And likely since many people over the last several years has woken up to that this isn't about a party, really. This is about people, whatever sect they are. They're easily influenced by these manipulating powers, even when they don't realize it. It's just, it's manipulative. After being cast out of heaven, fallen angels now exist in what the Bible calls the heavenly places, or the spiritual realm, above and around the earth, not in heaven itself, but also not confined to hell. There are like 4 of them that are bound in darkness, waiting judgment. I think those were the initial ones, so I don't want to get off into that subject. The spiritual realm is sometimes described as the second heaven, a domain between God's throne, which is the highest heaven, and the earth. So their influence is primarily spiritual and psychological, but it can have very real ramifications. However, their natural state is spiritual, not physical. They do not have bodies. Naturally, they do not have bodies united to them, but can assume physical form when necessary. Yeah, that's for the good angels or the bad. So they do not directly rule governments, but work behind the scenes to influence leaders, system, and societal values, often by promoting ideologies or practices that oppose God's purposes. Their power is only fully broken at the final judgment, and they are the ones that wreak havoc. So even when you see all these leaders, like, why aren't you doing something? Well, they're weak characters. That's why they're easily influenced by them. That's ultimately who had the auto pen. Was it man that signed some? Yes, being controlled by the powers and principalities that are in high places in the spiritual realm that overlaps our realm.